I've literally never in my life, ever in my life, felt like I needed to defend myself. I had posted a couple videos here on TikTok a couple weeks ago, and I in which took them down. It was video 1, 2, and 3. 3, I was so fed up from the nasty, insensitive comments from 1 and 2. In video 3, I was reusing jargon that people were saying from 1 and 2. I didn't think twice on it because I was like, oh, it's video 1, 2, and 3. Video 3 took off. Nobody had any idea about 1 and 2. All they hear is me repeating horrible, nasty jargon, right? And then I was like, oh shit, okay, now I see how this looks. Let me take this down. I took all of them down. My husband and I talked, and I was like, I want to talk on this. I feel very, very strong on my thoughts and opinions on this situation. Not even just thoughts and opinions, but also factual and educational backgrounds on it. I then took to Instagram because then everything on TikTok was being censored and crashed, and I don't know what was going on with TikTok. I don't know if it's still being censored. I don't know. Then I've seen so many different comment sections tagging me saying that I don't speak up, especially the fact that I lived in Minnesota and my husband's black and blah, 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 blah. Granted, again, that video is going out around, which is fine, whatever. That was my own doing without thinking twice on it, but it was just that one video without the full context of everything. I don't think, and I don't understand what people aren't getting. This is not your own opinions on deportation, immigrants. I don't really give a shit what your opinion is. If you are pro or against immigrants, if you are pro or against deportation, what I continue to bring to the table is, again, factual, educational topics. The amendments are not being protected. That is absolutely terrifying for any American citizen, for anybody on American soil, for any party, for anybody that you voted for. You should be concerned. Our First Amendment, we are watching people literally getting hurt for recording and speaking their piece at protests. That is literally the whole point in the First Amendment. It does not matter if you say your piece on social media. It doesn't matter if you say your piece to a police officer with a little bit of an attitude at a protest. That is the whole reason that we have those and why they're in place. The Second Amendment, Alex Preddy was legally allowed to carry. He was not at a protest. He was in the streets and saw something happening. He then was disarmed. You watched it on camera. I brought this up on Instagram stories and people were like, he had a gun. He legally could have a gun. He legally could carry that gun, and he was disarmed. Then let's talk about the Fourth Amendment. Police cannot go door to door, babe. Police cannot go to anybody's door. Documented, undocumented, American citizen, a fucking whatever you want to label yourself as, it doesn't matter. If you are on American soil, they cannot do so. If you want to get into the topic of, well, they're horrible criminals, they're horrible, horrible criminals, they're committing violent crimes, sex trafficking, rapes, I don't really think many people are arguing that. I actually don't think anyone's really arguing that. If they're going after a specific list of criminals, I think a lot of people would be like, okay, dang, they shouldn't have done what they did, you know? But that's not the case. We have 5-year-olds. We watched a 5-year-old get used as bait and detained and is still in a detention center. What crimes has he committed? What violent crimes has he committed? I just don't get it. And I kept saying that, like, I and my husband are so unbelievably frustrated at the whole thing right now. It's so sad knowing how many law enforcement personnel spend years and years getting an education and going through tactical training and going through gun training and all of these things, and they even make a flick of a wrong scenario, they lose everything. If your nurse were to come into your room and accidentally dose you with the wrong medicine, she could lose her license and lose her job for life. Ruins her life forever off of one accident. I don't know how many people are aware of the situation, but ICE is literally just handing out badges and guns these days. No exaggeration. The training has been way taken back. There's also been a statement where AI was doing the applications, and if it had officer in there at all, like, this is all information you can go look up, they were passing everybody. And it was just like a 4-week training course, not gun training, not tactical training, nothing. Then they were literally shipped out and said, hey, go deal with this. Here's a gun, here's a badge. What? We already have a very big divide in civilians and law enforcement and trust, and now we're pushing this even further. And then not only that, we're having them murder people in the streets for saying, hey, I don't fucking agree with that. So it's either you comply or you die? That's not very American. That's actually the polar opposite of America. The whole reason in America is for you to be able to live, to be the justice for all. Like it's just craziness to me. I've never once been in someone else's comment section, but I've seen so many people like making fun of influencers for not speaking up or whatever. And to each their own. Don't even get me started on that topic, because parts of me, it does bother me as well. But then again, middle grounded in this situation, kind of understanding both sides of you're damned if you do, you're damned if you're not. I really will say, I think when you watch influencers or creators in general, you can pretty much get a vibe for what they believe in based on the life that they live. And I'll let you kind of resonate with that as you will. This is disgusting. Again, this is the American people not being protected, or people on American soil, because everybody on American soil, whether you are documented, undocumented, you're protected by the Constitution. And that's being completely thrown out the window. And I think every single last party, every single person in purple, every single person in red, every single person in blue, we should all be concerned. That's all I'm having to say. I've seen the people calling me MAGA, and that's like, no, that's saying I'm part of a cult. Like, I genuinely believe MAGA is part of a cult. And just, no, call me Catherine if you have to.